at the end of the day, these are all great schools that you're going to be looking at. And it's kind of splitting hairs between all of these schools. Like there's just going to be, you're going to have great academics. You're going to have a really rich access to different resources and to do research and to do grad school applications. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what kind of experience do you want to have as a student while you're there? And if you want the more intimate settings, the ability to get to know people really well, to be around really interesting, passionate, driven, ambitious people, Williams is probably going to be that place for you. Not to say that there aren't other places that meet that need, but there's definitely something unique about being here and the rural setting that we're in that draws us all a little bit closer together.
So I think that a veteran should consider Williams and come to Williams for a couple of reasons, and the main one being personalized responses to your needs. At a lot of bigger schools where there's 40 veterans in a class, there's a lot less personalization to what you need. And Williams will just absolutely go above and beyond to meet anything that you personally need. Additionally, the alumni network here is amazing. Just anytime I reach out to anybody to talk to them, they respond, and it'll be like I'll send somebody an email. Like an example, I emailed a partner at Deloitte, and I was like, "Hey, I'm curious about some consulting stuff. Would you mind answering my questions?" And they said, "Oh yeah, I CC'd my assistant. She'll schedule you in my day." And then her assistant was like, "This week is booked, but how about next Friday?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, 30 minutes or an hour? And I was like, "Oh, 30 minutes, I suppose." Just no questions. They want to talk to you. They want to hear about your experience at Williams, how you got here, how Williams is taking care of you. And they also want to help make sure that you're prepared and informed for your post-Williams career, which is just great.
To be honest, I thought the transition would be much more difficult, being a transfer and being an adult now and having my own sort of routine. But everyone here goes above and beyond. And I think that's probably the best part of being here at Williams.
The transfer and veteran and non-traditional community is really important to me, and making sure that everybody gets to have a good opportunity to transfer to campus and have that smooth transition period, because that really sets the pace for everybody's experience during their 2 or 3 or 4 years that they're going to be at Williams. So at the end of my first year, I had the opportunity to sit down with Laura, another non-traditional student, and some of the deans to figure out how are we going to actually start thinking about this in a more structural way, to build orientation programs, to start to figure out what resources people need to be successful here. And so this has been, kind of like my mission on campus, is to try to maximize the opportunities that every cohort has, so that when people come in and they say, "Oh, I wish we had done this," or "I wish I knew about this," then that's great, because we get to implement that the next year. We get to actually build something and make it that much better every single time we do it.
I think orientation was probably the same for us as it is for any of the other freshman class who were walking in. It's a lot of lectures, a lot of sitting in an auditorium listening. So by that point, I don't think it was too terribly different from us as the rest of just your like normal quote unquote students. We are each assigned an entry, just like any normal freshman would be. So we all would meet up in our entry and just follow our JAs, our junior advisors around like little ducklings. Like, okay, we're going over to Chapin Hall now. Like, all right, now it's lunch break. So even though we're not 18, as you delicately put it, I don't think that we had like really any different experience.
Williams is a unique place in that a lot of the interactions stem from the people here. A lot of your experience comes from the people, rather than, I think, a lot of the other schools are based on the classroom or something else. And so for me, being able to maximize the time and the closeness and the level of connections I could draw with people here on campus really meant a lot to me in trying to have the experience that I wanted to have here. And so when I was thinking about where would I live, whether it was going to be in, an off-campus housing or in upperclassmen housing, I really wanted to focus on going through the traditional Williams experience. And so that meant going into an entry, growing up with all of the other frosh and all of the other first years that I was going to be in class with, and being able to go through all of those experiences together. And that's been an absolute game changer for me. I don't think I would have been able to do anything that I've done. And I know that a lot of my friends I've made here have been through the fact that I stayed in an entry versus something else.
I think with community college, I definitely did have community. Um, but I think that I've been able to find that at Williams much more easily because you're living at Williams and you have all the support in the world. Even though I'm a transfer student, and I don't live with my entry, for example, I still have an entry. I still have like my housing coordinators, our dean. We have a lovely Dean Stewart, always there for us. And when I was a junior, I had also Dean Garcia. So all the support in the world. And I found that there is so much more thought when it comes to helping community college students over here. Yes, I feel very much valued and I feel seen. And I love that.
So the college has gone above and beyond to make sure that our housing and the support that we need as parents is being, like, all of our needs are being met. Like the school provides childcare, they provide the house year round, they provide food budget. So like the childcare center doesn't provide all meals for our daughter. We have to send her with lunch. They provide snacks, but the school gives us money to buy food, which is really important for their, being able to support our kid. And also they gave us money for healthcare for her and for us as well. Just anything that you can think of, they provide. It's been really wonderful.
For me, it was the people. I was at a small unit when I was in the Navy, and so I really loved the level of responsibility that I was able to have there. Just because you have less people, you still have the same expectations that you're going to do everything the same way as everybody else, but you just have more responsibility at a much younger age to do those things. And so I looked at liberal arts colleges almost exclusively, and all of the other schools that I looked at, they did a great job at being themselves, but Williams really stuck out as doing the best job at integrating veterans and being really intentional about making sure that people felt at home here, that there was no divisions between us and them, so to say. And then when I finally came to visit here, the students here were just far and above much better than all the other places that I went to visit. Everybody is really interesting. People are very curious, but not in in a way that you look at like animals in the zoo. Like, they were just genuinely curious because everybody has an exceptional background here, and you're just another person with a different background.
Yes, Williams is a place in which you could thrive, I'm sure. And there's something for everyone. That's one of my favorite parts about Williams. So many people are different, yet we are also curious about each other. And that is so beautiful to me.
Tutorial is definitely a very unique and awesome part of the Williams academic experience. It's just 2 students and 1 professor. That's it. That's the whole class, the whole semester. You meet once a week, and you have you and your partner switch off on writing a lead paper, which is like 6 to 8 pages, and then a response paper, which is going to be 2 to 3 pages. And you get to have really just deep, honest, intellectual conversations about whatever subject that you're tackling. And because of the nature of it just being 2 people and 2 students and 1 professor, you get to take a much deeper look at whatever subject you're looking at and get to really get into the nitty-gritty of everything. So it's not just going to be like your basic survey classes. They're going to actually start digging into all of the other concepts that you have built upon through your introductory classes here.
One of the things that I'm most looking forward to is just exploring things that I don't know anything about. I think that that's one of the coolest things about Williams is because of the way they structure their curriculum for your major, depending on the major, of course. But for majors like economics, there's like 9 required classes, and 4 of those are electives in the economics department. So really, you have 5 classes that you absolutely have to take out of your 32 classes. So you can explore just anything that catches your interest in the course catalog. And they also offer independent study. So if there's something that catches your interest that's not in the course catalog, you can study that anyways. So that was another one of the big draws for Williams for me, was the ability to pick and choose and do anything. And that's one of the things that I'm most excited for.
I very much care about extending my knowledge, and I appreciate being able to provide this other perspective coming from Syria and Saudi Arabia, and then coming here to the U.S., adjusting to that, and then coming here to Williams. So I love that I can share my experiences, yet still connect with people, and we can find similarities between each other, and I love that.